With only exceptions for totally apathetic universities, you'll find hostility and a broadly leftist anti-Israel narrative wherever you go. The larger the university, the larger the presence of the anti-Israel coalition. You find a lot of vitriol, a lot of anger, a lot of narrative that's not always true, and a consistent and malicious attempt to shut down all positive conversations and all constructive conversations about and around Israel. We hosted Professor Alan Dershowitz for a talk about Zionism, the BDS campaign, and Israel. Before the event had even gone ahead, and as soon as other societies and groups had got word of that we were having him as a guest, everything was just boycott Israel, we stand against Israel. And it was clear to me that this is a movement that will use any tactic and will act intellectually dishonest in order to shut down conversation about Israel.
I'm very passionate about Israel, and I saw an opportunity to further support Israel promotional activity on my campus with the help of CAMRA. I've seen the support that CAMRA has previously provided, and when you join an organisation like CAMRA and become a fellow, then that gives you clear identifiable goals. You're having speaker events, you need to be having training events and educational events.
It's hard to get people involved in any kind of activism without resources, and CAMRA is very helpful to providing education materials and connections that allow someone like me to enrich my activism, for example. When you have a camera which provides a media accuracy lens, you actually help bring that conversation back to reality. And I think as an English student, that's probably what interested me the most about it as well. The CAMRA Fellowship is sort of taking Zionist activism to a media critical place.
Sometimes when you are isolated and you feel like the grand support structures are, across the pond, it can be disheartening. Feel like it's a insurmountable task, that you're going to be overwhelmed eventually by the masses of hatred that are against you. I think when you have support, especially international support from organisations like CAMRA, it's reinvigorating, I'd say, to the cause or to you as an individual who might be disheartened by the scale of the things that are against you.
So I think I'd be crazy to think that I could change the whole campus narrative attitude towards Israel. I think a victory would be to say that while I was at Nottingham, our side of the story was not suppressed. Especially at universities, you never know when you might be able to motivate key individuals who may have a part to play and who benefit from the truth that you can expose them to. It's not about changing the hearts and minds of every single person at university, because that's ridiculous. It's about finding those allies that potentially would have been lost had you, the Zionist activist, been silent.